The city of Onyx did not breathe. It simply ticked. In endless corridors of concrete and steel, thousands of figures moved in perfect synchronization. No laughter, no tears, only efficiency. In this world, emotions were considered a disease, a relic of the past that hindered progress. Caspian was the best collector in the sector. His eyes, enhanced by cybernetics, did not see the beauty of a face, only heart rates and hormone levels. To him, people were merely resources. Every morning, he had anti-emotion serum injected into his veins and headed into the gray streets to hunt those who still carried a remnant of human essence. Caspian, anomaly detected in Sector 7, the cold voice of the central processor echoed in his mind. Energies leaking there, disrupting the city's rhythm. Find it and isolate it. Caspian stepped through a glass gate into the old part of Onyx, where shadows were deeper and the air heavier. His sensors began to flash. Instead of the usual gray curves, a bright gold spot appeared on his display. It was a warmth that shouldn't exist in Onyx. The deeper he went into the labyrinth of ruins, the more he felt a strange tremor in his own circuits. It wasn't fear. It was something his processor couldn't name. He found her in a secluded alley that once housed an old botanical garden. Now, just a pile of dust. Isolde sat there on a piece of concrete, doing something unimaginable. She was singing. It wasn't words, just a soft, swaying melody that cut through the silence of Onyx like a razor. Caspian stood still in the shadows. His sensors screamed, "Critical essence level. Connect immediately." But he couldn't move. He looked at his hands and saw his black gloves turning a deep blue in her light. Isolde looked up. Her eyes weren't gray like everyone else's. They were deep, full of tears and life. "Have you come for my essence?" she whispered. Her voice had a color Caspian had never seen, the color of autumn leaves. She took a step toward him and touched the metal armor on his chest. In that moment, a short circuit surged through Caspian's body. The serum in his blood seemed to evaporate, and for the first time in 30 years, he felt his heart beating in his chest, painfully and wildly. A warning signal from headquarters rang in his ears. "Report, Caspian. Have you found the source?" Caspian looked into Isolde's face at that fragile beauty destined to be destroyed to power machines. He turned on his radio. "Sector 7 is clear." He lied for the first time in his existence. Just a pipe malfunction. Returning to base. Caspian returned to Sector 7 every night. In his world, it was the ultimate betrayal, wasting time on an unproductive activity. But he had no choice. He brought Isolde things that no one in Onyx cared about. A scrap of old silk, a rusty key, a fragment of glass. In her hands, these things changed. "Look at this, Caspian," she said, running her finger over the silk. "It's not just fabric. It's a memory of a touch." Caspian watched her lips and felt barrier after barrier collapse within him. His cybernetic eye constantly flashed an error. Unknown spectrum. Restart system. But Caspian refused the restart. He wanted to see what she saw. Then it happened. One evening, Isolde pulled an old, torn book with colorful illustrations of flowers from the rubble. When Caspian looked at a picture of a red rose, his processor finally gave up. The gray grid of his vision shattered, and color flooded his eyes. It was red, the color of blood, the color of danger, but also the color of the warmth he felt when he stood near her. I can see," he exhaled, his voice sounding human for the first time. At that moment, Red lights of patrol drones flickered over the rooftops of Onyx in the distance. The city felt the rhythm of Sector 7 accelerating. The harmony of Onyx was being disrupted by the beat of two hearts. As Isolde taught Caspian to feel, his body began to fight the change. His mechanical joints stiffened as his biological side tried to take control. "Your city will kill you if you stay here," Isolde whispered, taking his hand. Her touch burned like fire. "The essence is growing in you, Caspian, and Onyx feels it. To the city, you are like a virus." Caspian felt the nanobots moving beneath his skin, trying to repair his malfunction of feeling. Every breath was heavier. Every second nearer made him more vulnerable. He was no longer a collector. He was prey. Suddenly, a mechanical screech echoed above the alley. "The patrol is here," Caspian breathed, shielding Isolde with his body. Cones of cold white light swept around them. The walls of Onyx seemed to have ears. The concrete vibrated with a low-frequency tone, calling the traitor to obedience. Caspian knew he couldn't go back. If he entered the decontamination chamber, the system would erase his memory and drain Isolde's essence to the last drop. "We have to go deeper," he said, gripping her hand tightly for the first time. "To where Onyx has no eyes. To where the heart of this machine beats." At that very moment, another collector emerged from the darkness, Caspian's former apprentice, whose eyes glowed with a cold, ruthless gray. Caspian and Isolde plunged into the depths of the sector, the thunderous footsteps of the collectors echoing behind them. They descended into the roots, a labyrinth of ancient pipes and cables, pulsing with dark, oily energy. Here, the order of the upper city no longer applied. The walls were covered in strange metal filaments that looked like cobwebs. Caspian felt his mechanical armor growing heavy, as if the city itself was trying to chain him to the ground. "We're close," Isolde breathed, but her voice sounded dangerously weak. They reached a massive cavern where thousands of transparent tubes from all over Onyx converged. To his horror, Caspian watched a colorful mist flowing through them. Essence stolen from millions of people. But it wasn't just about harvesting emotions. Caspian noticed invisible filaments stretching toward Isolde whenever she looked at him. "The city? It doesn't silence us because it fears chaos." Caspian realized, his hatred for the system that gave him life flaring in his eyes. "It farms us, like cattle. The more you love, the more energy you produce, and the more Onyx can take from you." Isolde fell to her knees. Her glow, once so vibrant in the alleyway, was fading. Every time Caspian took her hand and felt that incredible bond, he saw the color in her veins vanish and flow into the nearest cable. Onyx was a parasite feeding on their intimacy. The more precious their love became, the faster Isolde was dying. "You have to leave me, Caspian," she whispered, her tears turning into gemstones on the ground. "My heart beats too loudly, and Onyx hears it. If you don't stop feeling, the city will drain me dry." But Caspian didn't let go. Instead, he began tearing plates of armor from his body. The nanobots in his blood started to go wild, burning him like liquid metal as he tried to disconnect from the city's network. "I won't watch them consume you," he roared, ripping one of the main cables from the wall. A wave of resistance surged through Onyx. Lights throughout Sector 7 flickered and died. Caspian understood one thing. They couldn't hide. If they wanted to survive, they had to stop the heart of Onyx, even if it meant Caspian had to become something that was no longer human, nor machine. He had to become a weapon. The climb to the central processor was a purgatory. Caspian no longer looked like the perfect collector in polished armor. Every step agonized him as his biological body fought against dysfunctional implants. Coolant mixed with blood leaked from his joints. The city of Onyx sent its best units against his soulless machines that had once been his brothers. But Caspian had something they didn't: rage and love. He fought with the ferocity of an animal, ripping cables from walls and using the wreckage of his own armor as a shield to protect Isolde, who was fading away in his arms. They reached the final security gate, a laser field capable of deconstructing any mechanical tissue. Caspian stopped. He knew that as a cyborg, he wouldn't pass. He had to do the unthinkable. "Hold on to me," he whispered to Isolde, and began to tear the last pieces of processors that ensured his eternal life from his arms and chest. It was an agony that Onyx did not know. With every piece of metal that hit the floor, Caspian became weaker, but his human essence shone brighter than ever. He ceased to be an immortal machine and became a mortal man. And it was that very mortality that allowed him to go where no other collector could. Finally, they stood in the chamber of the heart. It was a massive, cold monolith of black silicon humming quietly in the middle of a void. Millions of crystals filled with stolen essence hovered around it in the air. All of Onyx was connected to this single point. "This is where your silent horror ends," Caspian roared. His voice was hoarse, filled with pain, but it carried the strength of the entire sector. The city responded. Mechanical clamps began to reach up from the floor to consume them and make them part of the system. Caspian wound up for a final blow, even as he felt his own heart, his real, human heart, beginning to fail. Caspian, no. If you destroy it, your body won't survive. Isolde cried out, trying to stop him, but Caspian only smiled at her. It was the first true smile she had ever seen in Onyx. "I would rather die in color than live forever in gray," he replied. He thrust his bare hands, now stripped of all metal, directly into the pulsing core of the processor. An unimaginable discharge occurred. White light flooded the entire hall, and Caspian's consciousness momentarily connected with every person in the city. He felt their suppressed sorrow and hidden joy. And then, with a final breath, the heart of Onyx shattered. When the heart shattered, it wasn't an explosion that swept through Onyx, but a silence. A silence so deep that for the first time in centuries, people in the streets heard their own breath. The monochrome grid that imprisoned their minds began to crumble like old ash. Color suddenly ignited in millions of eyes. People froze mid-stride as the first wave of emotion hit them: fear, confusion, but followed immediately by an unexpected, sweet relief. The city that was a machine finally began to live. Concrete walls started to crack, and from the fissures, fed by the released essence, the first real grass began to grow. In the processor hall, Caspian lay in the dust and shards of silicon. His body was fragile and quiet. Without the mechanical enhancements, he looked smaller, more vulnerable, more human. Isolde crawled to him, her own glow no longer a stolen light, but her own strength. "Caspian, can you hear me?" she whispered, taking his head in her hands. Caspian slowly opened his eyes. There was no blue light anymore, no pulse scanning. They were brown, tired, and full of tears. Isolde ... single quotes he exhaled, his voice just a faint whisper. "I see your color. It's more beautiful than I remembered." Together, they staggered from the ruins of the heart to the surface. Onyx was no longer the same place. The black cloud of smog that had covered the city for generations parted. A golden glow appeared on the horizon, the first true sunrise. People in the streets stood with their faces turned to the sky, weeping. It wasn't a cry of sorrow, but of wonder that the world could be so bright. Caspian leaned on Isolde's shoulder and felt the chill of the morning breeze on his skin for the first time. It wasn't unpleasant. It was proof that he was alive. Caspian knew his life would be short and fragile now, exactly as a human life is meant to be. But as he looked at Isolde, he knew that every second with her was worth more than 1,000 years in the gray of Onyx. The city began to transform into a garden. The machines stopped, and people began to learn how to speak, sing, and love again. The story of the collector who betrayed the system for a single smile became a new legend. The essence of life was no longer fuel for machines. It became what it was always meant to be, a bond between two souls who weren't afraid to feel. In Onyx, the age of logic ended and the age of the heart began.